earth is running across my roof? Huh. Right, today I am back down the farm and I have my van on the dyno. This is the first time I've had the van on the dyno with the dyno like this setup, and it is really close at the back, like it's right close to the wall. So for bigger cars I might have to like shift the dyno forward, but it'll work for the van. So I found a little bit of free time between, you know, trying to earn money and actually like make YouTube videos. So I had a little play in my van the other day, and I think it's time for a little bit more boost now. So I've got it on the dyno. I'm going to give it a little power run just to see where things are. And I have bought, if I can find it, I say, I've had it for a while, just not fitted it. This. So this is a Max ECU 3-port solenoid. So it's for controlling the boost. So I'm going to do a little power run, and then I'm going to get that fitted, and then hopefully crank the boost up and see if I can make it a little bit more peakier. I'm going to say peakier. So yeah, sorry about the noise as well. It's really windy down here, and all the shutters are going and stuff like that. So yeah, right. I'm going to do a power run, see how it goes. Right, so I'm in the van. We're on the dyno. The cooling fan's going. I've got my laptop connected there to the Max ECU. So I've got a screen there. And then I've got the laptop screen there for the dyno. And then I've got a bigger screen for the dyno there. And then I've got the cameras up there on another screen. So plenty of screens going on up in here all of a sudden. But yeah, so it's quite hot in here. It's currently 26 degrees. So I'm not expecting it to make loads of power. If it makes like 300, I'll be happy. I've already dynoed in all the dyno. I've set all the weather station stuff. I've already calibrated the RPM. So now we need to just do a power run. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. Foot on the clutch, obviously. First gear, don't take the handbrake off, that's habit. Got to remember I'm on a dyno, not on the road. First, second, third. My little dyno button's down here, by the way, so floor it and then press the button and we're away. Gotta let it coast down now. .297 horsepower. I'll take that for a hot day. Cool. Right, I'm going to do some tweaking. So I didn't quite realise how bad I'd actually left the fuel map. I think I was relying on the lambda control too much, because the Max ECU's got closed loop lambda control. So I just sort of turned it on, and while I was driving around and keeping an eye on it, it looked absolutely perfect, so I've never really gone back to it. But obviously I've disabled lambda control while I'm mapping, because I don't want the ECU to try and correct anything. And I didn't realise how bad I've actually left it, so I've just been mucking about for probably like the last half hour, 40 minutes. I've got it like, I'd say like 90% of the way there, so I'm more than happy with it. So now I'm going to attempt to fit the boost control solenoid. I probably, thinking about it in hindsight, should have done this before running it up on the dyno, because now it's like red hot and I've got to stick my hands under there and stuff, but as is life. Right, I'm going to crack on. It's genuinely too hot to work on. So I'm going to leave that like that for a while and wait for it all to cool off under there, because I'm not putting my hand down there. Damn it. So I've had the fan on for like 20 minutes. It's pretty cool how quick just airflow will cool down a manifold. Nah, joking. Right, so I've run these two cables through the firewall. This is one of the output wires, so let me just grab this just to show you. I've got here the Max ECU wiring diagram. This is obviously the Max Mini. So if you look on here, careful. So if you look on here, the Max ECU has got like 4 dedicated outputs. Well, not dedicated, like 4 outputs that can be, you know, set to anything. So D1 can be the tachometer or an extra output, but obviously my van still runs the standard ECU, so I don't need to use that. I don't need to connect that up rather, so that's just redundant at the minute. I've gone for, I think, E1, which is one of the outputs. I've set that to control my idle speed control valve, and now I'm using this green wire here that I've run through the firewall is G1. I can soon tell you actually, because all the max wiring says what it is on the wire every couple of inches. GP out 2, no, yeah, GP out 2, wire G1. So yeah, it's this one rather. So you've got GP out 2 G1 or extra output 2. I'm going to use that for my boost control solenoid, because you can configure these outputs to do anything in the ECU. So yeah, max ECU does not discriminate, so it can just be, you know, connected to anything you want. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do now. The solenoid works by having 12 volts on one side of the solenoid, so I've run a feed through an ignition live, and then the ECU drags it down to ground through the output. So yeah, I'm going to connect this up and see how it goes. Yeah, not really too good in my words today, as you can probably tell, but hey ho, we will crack on. So I just thought I'd show you how I plumb the little 3-port Mac valves. This is a genuine Mac valve. Don't go buying like a, you know, an eBay special, because you will come unstuck. You know, if it doesn't bypass the if it starts like bypassing the boost away from the actuator or the wastegate, it will go like, you know, skyrocketing. It can cause a lot of damage. So, you know, they're not a lot of money. They're only like 60-70 quid for a decent one with a fitting kit. So yeah, this is the one you should buy. So anyway, this is how I thought I'd show you I plumb them up. So you've got 3 ports on this solenoid. Number 1 on the right there, number 3 in the middle, and then number 2 to the left. 3 is, that goes to the compressor, or that's where boost gets fed into. So the boost from the turbo gets fed into that, and then it comes straight out of port number 2 and goes to my external wastegate. I'm not going to go plumbing the wastegate up using both ports. I'm just going to do it this simple way for now, just to show you. So yeah, just to recap, boost goes into 3, comes out of 2, and then when you demand more boost via pulse width, the ECU will pulse this solenoid, and it will bypass the boost pressure from number 3 out of number 1, which means that the turbo will have to work harder to you know, compensate for this boost leak through number 1, thus making more boost before the wastegate opens. So yeah, I hope that made sense, because it made sense in my head, but I don't ever, you know, don't ever really understand how well it will come across. But hopefully you can sort of come round to my way of thinking. So yeah, now I'm just going to plumb it up. Right, so I'd say we're about done. So I've got the, ooh, it's going to be really hard to see, but you're going to have to trust me. So I've got boost pressure coming off the compressor housing onto the solenoid there, and then it tees off that way down there onto the bottom of the wastegate, and then obviously the vent that side. I thought I'd get all fancy and get the wiring loom braid out, so I've got some heat shrink on it and braided it, and, you know, pinned it up all nice. Put a proper little plug there as well, so if I ever need to unplug it I can. Made it a little bit long, but that's fine, I can live with that. So yeah, that's about it. All I need to do now is go into the ECU and designate that output as boost control, and then see if I can put some more boost through it. So that's what I'm going to do now. Right, we are getting there slowly. I've got the M-Tune software open here. I've gone into output configuration, and then GPO out 1, which is obviously a switch to ground, is the idle PWM control solenoid. And now GPO out 2, I've set to boost solenoid simple / open loop. You won't really hear it, but if I click test, you can hear the valve opening and closing. But you won't probably be able to hear it on the camera. But you're just going to have to trust me, it does work. So now I've got that done, I'm going to go into the boost control software, and just going to try and run through everything, make sure everything looks about right, and see if I can get the boost pressure to rise. So forgive me, from the last shot till now, I've just sort of been like getting carried away with just sort of sorting the map out and getting it like pretty spot on. I'm quite happy with it. I've cranked it up now, listen to me. I've turned the boost pressure up via the boost control, and it is making, let me have a little look at the log. So I've turned it up, and it is making 200 and, stay on there, 250 kPa. So it was making 210 kPa, so now it's 250. So the boost pressure has risen up a little bit. I haven't actually done a power run yet. I've kind of just been using the dyno for load and then just going back over the logs, making sure everything was okay and stuff like that. So I suppose I better give it a power run. Yeah, I'm gonna do that now. Right, so I know from doing the like the pulls on the dyno and looking at the logs that my air fuel ratio is all okay and stuff like that. It's getting quite late in the day, and I don't want to upset the neighbours because dynos are really antisocial. So I'm literally going to do one run and then going to call it a day. So whatever it makes now, end of. Right, let's go for it. Obviously the dyno doesn't want to play at the minute. Right, try again. Oh, it's up there. Letting the dyno roll down to calculate transmission loss. Currently rolling at 100 mile an hour. Woo! 355 horsepower. I'm not going to get too carried away. Let me just stop the noise. Right. So, I'm not going to get too carried away. Like, I could now start cranking more boost into it and stuff like that, but little steps. Like, I don't want to get, you know, I know what'll happen. I'll keep feeding it. I'll be like aiming for 400 horsepower and then the oil pump will explode or something like that. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. It's 300 and what did I say it was? Oh, such a bad memory. Let's have a look. Ooh. So it makes wheel horsepower, 338 wheel horsepower. I'm like the worst cameraman in the world. Ignore me. Apologies. So it makes 338 wheel horsepower. Got a transmission loss of 17.2 horsepower, and that makes a total engine horsepower of 355 horsepower. It makes peak horsepower at 6,800 RPM, and it makes peak torque at, where are we, at 5,685 RPM. Not bad for standard cams, so yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm looking forward to the drive home. I'll see if I can get a cheeky little video on the drive home. Yeah, right, I'm gonna get this off the dyno, pack up and, oh, I dropped my dyno button. Pack up and then go home, so yeah. Right, so I'm all locked up and ready to go home. Me and my hectic life as always, I cannot find my in-car GoPro mount, so unfortunately I had to settle for this. Genuinely had to sellotape my GoPro to the top of the dash. So yeah, if that's the view you're seeing now, sorry, that's all I can do. Right, let's make my essential journey home. Ironically, my wife has actually locked herself out as well. I'm not even making that up. She went out the front to put the rubbish out. Back door was open, the wind's blown the front door home, so I need to get home on the hurry up. First drive at 360 horsepower. A little bit anxious. lean fuel cut, I've got overboost protection, I've got coolant temp protection, I've got air temperature protection, so like charge temps, if they get too high it starts shutting it down. Gives me like a really low rev limit if something goes like too high or too low. I like this ECU. I like this ECU a lot. I like this van a lot. That was one of the most exciting essential journeys I've ever had to make. Currently just downloading the log file from Max ECU. Ooh, lovely. Give me something to look at before dinner. So, I'm going to end this video here. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, like, share and subscribe. If you haven't, then, well, don't like, don't share, don't subscribe. It has got me thinking though. I wonder what my van would go like at 400 horsepower.